Dana, and I am the service associate today. This morning, we welcome to our pulpit the Reverend Margaret Weis. She is a lifelong UU, originally from the Boston area. She has served as a hospital chaplain in Massachusetts and Connecticut, and as a parish minister in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and New York. Reverend Margaret loves travel, vegan and vegetarian cuisine, and spending time by the water whenever possible. Welcome, Margaret.
Enter into this place with your whole self, the parts that are raw and exposed, the part that is beaming with joy, the part that is seeking truth, the new, the possibility. Enter into this place, open your heart, lay down your burden, lift up your hope for something new to happen. Enter into this place with fellow travelers on the journey, some faces new and others familiar, some far and others close by, and some gathering only in spirit, and all welcoming you here, now, to this moment. Whoever you are, whoever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Here you belong.
Our prelude is Do What the Spirit Says, an African-American spiritual performed by Sweet Honey in the Rock.
Children, I'm gonna do what the Spirit say do. Children, I'm gonna do what the Spirit say do. Children, I'm gonna do what the Spirit say do, my Lord, and obey the Spirit of the Lord. Do what the Spirit say do. Yeah, all right.
Please join us in the chalice lighting words shown on the screen. Welcoming all free seekers of truth and meaning, we gather to excite the human spirit, to inspire its growth and development, to respond morally and ethically to a troubled world, and to sustain a vital and nurturing religious community.
Next, we'll sing a unison song from our hymnal, number 184. The words will appear on the screen. Please join in singing, Be Ye Lamps Unto Yourselves, a melody from Sarum Antiphonal, words attributed to Gautama Buddha. Musicians are from the Star King UU Church. Albany UU's Acting Director of Religious Education, Elizabeth Baldes, chose today's wisdom story in honor of Valentine's Day. The wisdom story is For Estefany, 3rd grade, Who Made Me a Card, by Aracelis Germain.
I'm Aracelis Germain, and this is For Estefany, 3rd grade, Who Made Me a Card. Elephant on an orange line underneath a yellow circle, meaning sun. 6 green vertical lines with color all from the top, meaning flowers. The first time I peel back the 5 squares of Scotch tape, unfold the crooked crease fold of art class paper, I am in my living room. It is June. Inside of the card, there is one long word, and then Estefany's name. Lois Furry, Estefany. Lois Furry? Lois Furry, the scientific Latinate way of saying hibiscus. Lois Furry, A direction as in, are you going north, south, east, west, Los Ruriri? I try over and over to read the word out loud. Los Ruriri, Lo Is Ruriri, Los Ruriri, Los Ruriri. What is this word? I imagine using it in sentences like, man, I have to go back to the house. I forgot my Los Ruriri. Or, there's nothing better than rain, hot rain, open windows with music, and a tall glass of Los Ruriri. Or, how are we getting to Pittsburgh? Should we drive or take the Los Ruriri? I have lived 4 minutes with this word, not knowing what it means. It is the end of the year. I consider writing my student, Estefany, a letter that goes, to the brilliant Estefany. Hola, querida. I hope that you are well. I've just opened the card that you made me, and it is beautiful. I really love the way you filled the sky with birds. I believe that you are chula, chulita, and superfly. Yes, the card is beautiful. I only have one question for you. What does the word Los Ruriri mean? I tried the word again. Los Ruriri, Los Ruriri, Los Ruriri. I try the word in Spanish. Los Feribari, Los Feribari, Los Feribari. And then slowly, Lo Ispo Eribari. Lo Ispo Eribari. Love is for everybody. Love is for everybody. Love, love, love everybody. Love everybody. Love, love. Is love everybody? Everybody is love. Love, love for everybody. For love is everybody. Love is for everybody. Love, love, love for body. Love body. Body is love. Love is body. Everybody is love. Is every love? For every love is love. For love, everybody love, love. Love, love for everybody. Love is for everybody.
For an interview with the poet, watch this video, or check out the next poem in this series.
Book who will be joining us now for our service. For those of you just joining us, my name is Dick Dana and I am the service associate today. We welcome to our pulpit the Reverend Margaret Weis. She is a lifelong UU, originally from the Boston area. She has served as hospital chaplain in Massachusetts and Connecticut, and as a parish minister in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and New York.
Our reading this morning was written by my colleague, the Reverend Marcus Liefert. He writes, "The Unitarian Universalist congregation where I served as an intern made a mosaic tree of life the summer before I arrived. Congregants of all ages came together to craft the tree's leaves using bits and pieces of broken ceramics, jewelry, glass, and stone. There are many precious personal items in the tree, including fragments of the Berlin Wall, a father's watch face, pieces of great-grandmother's china, and a key to the front door of a loved home. Like the members of the community that brought them together, each part is imbued with memories and meaning. Each fragment holds a piece of truth. Unitarian Universalists are mosaic makers," he writes. "We are a people who bring together the broken pieces of our histories and the shining pieces of our seeking, and piece by piece, create a mosaic religion. Our tree of life is found in the stories of our living tradition. The bead from a transformational moment of worship at a youth conference, the bit of paper stamped with the blazing emblem of the Unitarian Service Committee that saved lives during World War II, the button or patch on a backpack that proudly proclaims the first justice issue that lit our souls on fire. But our mosaic making tells another story too, one that is often more difficult to see. one that is essential to the purpose of religious community, one that lies not in the beautiful and broken bits and pieces, but in the grout. Grout, the chalky, gritty stuff that is squeezed between the cracks of the tiles. In a mosaic, the grout holds the image together, unifying disparate pieces into a whole. The grout of a community takes years to lay and settle. Grout happens in board meetings and committee meetings and endless emails and slow-moving institutions. It is in weekly potlucks shared by neighbors, a ride to church, coffee in the social hall after worship. While the folks who show up for church only on Christmas and Easter, they'll eventually, hopefully, enjoy the beauty of the mosaic they find. They may never know the power of the grout that holds us through all the seasons of life. We help to make the grout when we learn each other's names and when we reach out across generational differences. We help to make the grout when we show up on Sunday morning without having checked first to see if we're interested in the sermon topic. When a newborn arrives to be blessed by the community, it is the grout that enables us to welcome them. And it is the grout that we rest in when we gather to grieve and memorialize a beloved one who has died. Hold us, O grout. Gather us in through time and space and make all our broken pieces whole in community. In our multiplicity, make us one. From each of our jagged edges, give us the shape of a communal beauty. I now invite you into a few moments of silent reflection, meditation, prayer. Perhaps you want to close your eyes or soften your gaze slightly. Feel your feet on the floor. Connect with your breath. I invite you to consider a time when you were held by the grout of community. What did that feel like? What did it sound like? What did it taste like? What did it look like? As we share some silence together, I invite you to take these sensations into your body with gratitude for their transformative power. I have taken pottery classes twice in my life. I love that gritty feeling of the clay, of creating something with my own two hands. A few years ago, I took a class on a pottery wheel, throwing clay. I wanted to try something that was new to me, something different from ministry. I imagined that there would be this great sense of creating something that I could hold and touch, that I got to see from beginning to end. So much of what we do in congregations is not that way. So much of what we do is think about or learn about or explore ideas and concepts and questions. We spend a lot of time in our heads and not so much in our bodies. So much of being in religious community has to do with starting conversations about new ideas or continuing to implement those ideas that took shape long ago. But rarely do we see something through its whole lifespan. Unless we do so intentionally, we will not create something new and see it to the end. And so in my first year of parish ministry, I turned to a pottery wheel. I sat at the wheel, a little nervous, but also excited. I like to use the term skited, scared and excited at once. It's a good way of being scared. I imagined that in my first 8-class session, I would start with something simple. I would create 4 matching bowls. Now, anyone who has taken a pottery class knows that this goal is completely ridiculous. The first task of the first class was to center the clay on the wheel, which only took me, well, it took me the whole class. And by the time I got the clay centered, it was time to clean up. And I did clean up, and I was secretly wondering if it was at all possible for me to just leave the clay there in the center on the wheel until the next class. It wasn't. So I returned the next week to the next class, the new session, ready to start again. During this class, it took me less time to center the clay, and I barely got the edges up on the bowl before the time was up, and that class was over as well. This is how it went from session to session until finally I finished my first piece. As my wife would say, it was a bowl only a mother could love. Or as it turns out, a bowl only a wife could love, since I gave it to her as a gift and it sits on our counter in our home. But I made it. It was mine. As with most new things we try, I learned a lot in the process. I learned about the idea of centering, of leaning in, of connecting my left hand with my right, feeling where more pressure was needed and where I needed only to have my hand there gently to guide the clay. And I learned about getting in tune with the rotation of the wheel as it whirled on. And in the process of all of that, I learned that actually it wasn't much different at all from life. Specifically, it wasn't much different from living into covenant in religious community like we do in our congregations. When we gather in religious community, we learn some of those same things. The feeling of being centered after feeling anxious and a little excited, skited. That feeling of leaning into new experiences or moments of uncertainty. The feeling of pushing ourselves here, leaning back there, integrating different parts of ourselves, and finding a rhythm in a world that is whirling around us. And in this pandemic time, we have really been exploring new ways of being together, which is both exciting and honestly scary. I once thought that there wasn't much tangibility in ministry, in religious community, but it turns out that there are some tangible things we create together in our communities and in our congregations. We heard some of those tangible things in our reading today. Radical ideas like welcoming the stranger, opening ourselves to those who are different from us, the ways we show up when we need some extra care, blessing babies who are new to our community, remembering the lives of beloveds who have died. These are our tasks as religious community. They have been for generations. They are the grout that holds us together, as my colleague Marcus writes. The grout sharing that earthy texture of clay as it takes shape. And just as a mound of clay on a wheel takes shape over time, shifting its weight and needing to be recentered in different and creative ways, so do our communities. Each of us is part of that shaping, and in turn, we are shaped by the community. And as time passes and our collective experiences grow and change, so do we, and so does our community. And just like learning a new creative skill or learning about how clay moves and is molded in different ways, we build upon our knowledge and our skills along the way. We deepen in our understanding of the world and our place in it. In reflecting about the idea of integrity, I'm intrigued by the ways we define it. Integrity is this idea of being strong or true, of being whole and solid, of being consistent. Perhaps integrity is also doing what is right, even when, or especially when, it's difficult. We learn all of that as time goes on too, as long as we're intentional about it and come to realize that the authenticity required of us to reach that point is important. Each new experience holds within it the possibility to shape our worldview. This is a core belief of Unitarian Universalism, that our experiences shape and shift the ways we make meaning in the world. What we experience and who we are in the world matters. Our shared tradition of Unitarian Universalism is what we call a living faith, one that is a living and breathing concept and practice. Unitarian Universalists are mosaic makers, Reverend Marcus Liefert reminds us. We piece together seemingly disparate ways of being through the grout of community and shared traditions. What this means is that we, this congregation, our faith tradition at large, gleans some of its integrity from the generations of folks who have shaped it along the way. In a sense, it's as if Unitarian Universalism is one large pot with multiple potters over time, some centering, some getting the edges up, one taking over from the next to help shape the next generation of creativity and potential. As such, the foundation of our history lives on in new and creative ways through each of us as we help to shape it and allow it to shape us. This is what it means to be in a covenantal faith, one that has its foundations in the promises that we make to each other. Promises from generations before us and promises to generations to come, that we will keep the wheel spinning, that we will continue to shape this tradition, that we will carry forward the traditions and pass on what we have learned from those who come after us. The past 22 months have been a whirlwind for most of us. The very makeup and foundation for so much of our lives has been shaken. Many of us have come to a deeper understanding of what is most important and centering to us, and others of us have had to slow down and keenly focus on smoothing the edges and staying centered. In a way, we've been invited into a process of reflection about integrity, the integrity of our institutions, our communities, our relationships, ourselves. What does it mean to live a life of integrity? The social scientist, social worker, speaker, and writer, Dr. Brene Brown once said that integrity is choosing courage over comfort. Integrity is choosing courage over comfort. So what does that look like for us as individuals? What does that look like for us in community? What does it look like for us as a religious and spiritual community? Well, Reverend Bill Gardner, UU minister, colleague of mine, once said, "We all have two religions, the religion we talk about and the religion we live. It is our task to make the difference between the two as small as possible." This is what it means to live a life of integrity as a person of faith, to make the difference between the religion we talk about and the religion we live as small as possible, to choose courage over comfort, to lean in, to push ourselves, to keep showing up, even if it feels like we're doing the same task every time, to realize that it's an ongoing process with shifts along the way, causing us to adjust and recenter. We do this as individuals, as families, as communities, as congregations. It means that just like the clay on the wheel, sometimes we have to press harder, sometimes we have to back off. It means that finding our shared center and being able to adjust to unexpected changes may challenge our shared understanding of who we are as individuals and as a community. It means that finding ways to widen the circle more and more, to make the pot as big as possible intentionally, and recognizing the ways that we have maybe unintentionally kept it small and limited. To have integrity doesn't mean to be rigid and unchanging, but rather it means to find that stabilizing force that allows us to move forward into the unknown and not lose ourselves in the process. This is what we practice together each week. This is what Unitarian Universalist helps us do, to discover those forces that give us stability in an ever-changing world, give us a soft place to land, help us practice living our values in our daily lives, help us shorten the gap between how we say we want to live and how we actually live our lives. It does so through intention and through shared practice. And so in a world that would tell us integrity is the result of rugged individualism, let us lift up those communities that help us live our best lives. In a world of do as I say and not as I do, may we resist and resist again. In a world that is spinning, threatening to throw us off center, let us find stability and strength in those forces that give us roots and hold us steady. In a world that suggests we must be one way for all time, let us remember that flexibility is possible by leaning in and getting our hands dirty in the process. Let us remember that it is always possible to stop, reset, scrap it all, and begin again. We have the power and the responsibility to shape ourselves and our communities with intention and with focus, to connect those disparate pieces with the grout of community and care, to craft new possibilities and opportunities, to lean in to the places that need our energy, to choose courage over comfort, to piece together the pieces and create something new, to widen the circle until it is large enough to hold all who wish to enter in. Let us do so in the spirit of love and compassion. So may it be. Amen. And blessed be.
Is by offering an opportunity to practice generosity. Members and friends support our congregation with an annual pledge paid throughout the year. Another way to support the good work of this congregation is by making a generous contribution via one of the options shown on this next slide. You can click on the tiny URL link in the chat window to contribute, or you can send a text to the number shown on the screen. The examples on the slide show how to label your text to indicate the amount and the purpose or intent of your gift. We must now say goodbye to our Facebook friends. Consider joining us on Zoom next time. You can find more information at albanyuu.org. Our offertory music is Lift Me Up by Andy Beck. Musicians, the Albany UU Virtual Choir. If you'd like to tell us who you are and where you're from, you can click on the raise hand symbol. Depending on your Zoom version, you will find the raise hand option either in the participant window or in the reactions button on your Zoom toolbar. Our technician will invite you to unmute and introduce yourself. You may also, or instead, click on the visitor link you'll find now in the chat window.
I'm not seeing any raised hands at this time.
Thank you and welcome to all who have joined us today. If you'd like to learn more about our congregation or Unitarian Universalism, you can find in the participant window someone with welcome before their name. You can reach out to that person privately in the chat window now or after the service. I need to select a stone. As I select a stone on behalf of those joys and sorrows that are left unspoken, let us hold all that we've heard and felt in our hearts.
Holy mystery, Spirit of life and love, whom we know by many names and who knows us only as beloved. We lift up our hearts again this morning to be held in community. This week has again brought us great joy and sorrow, opportunities for growth and for learning. We give thanks for the moments of joy shared today about new beginnings. We hold in love those moments of sorrow and concern about health challenges of the people and other companions in our lives. We celebrate along with all those who are having birthdays or anniversaries this week. And as always, we hold in our hearts concern for those among us who are experiencing illness of the body or the mind. May we remember always that the fabric of our lives is knit together with fine strands of sorrow, joy, heartbreak, and love. In our moments of trial and difficulty, may we be held in love and reminded of our resilience. In our moments of celebration and joy, may we remember with gratitude the ways we have been buoyed and supported by our communities. May we continue to show up for one another and ourselves. Have the courage to choose courage over comfort. May we have the curiosity and wonder to move beyond what we know today to what we might come to understand tomorrow. May we remember always that we are loved, worthy, and good, just as we are. May we always, always remember, as Stephanie reminded us this morning, that love is for everybody. We ask these things in the name of all that is holy and good and true. So may it be. Amen, and blessed be. With the knowledge that we are held and guided by love, we will join together to sing hymn number 131 in our hymnal. Love Will Guide Us. Traditional arrangement by Betty Wilder, words by Sally Rogers. Our musician is Randy Rosette. The words will appear on your screen. As we extinguish the chalice, please join in the words shown on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Friends, in these days when we are often pushed beyond our comfort, may we lean into the unknown. In those moments when we feel worried and afraid, may we be reminded of our strength and resilience. Let us remember to reach out to one another, forever seeking ways to practice preemptive radical welcome and widen our circle more and more and more until all are encompassed by its embrace. May we continue to offer our love, our courage, our compassion to this beautiful and broken world. Our service has ended. Let our true service now begin. Go in peace.
Go to the musicians, the Albany UU Virtual Choir and Randy Rosette, the ushers, Kristen Abbas and Annika Pfluger, Pastoral Care Associates, Donna Meixner and Sandy Stone, Service Associate, yours truly, Dick Dana, Welcomer, Don Odell, Office Support, Tammy Goddard Hathaway and Patience Pichette, Technical Support, Kate Pierce and Chuck Manning, and the flowers are from your flower committee, and your donation could be here. Sunday services will remain virtual through February 20th, with multi-platform services resuming on Sunday, February 27th. Learn more at albanyuu.org. We're hiring. Albany UU is currently seeking a dynamic and creative part-time music director for 20 hours per week for 44 weeks annually. For more information, the complete job description, as well as candidate requirements, visit our website, albanyuu.org. Call for nominations. Are you looking for a way to be more involved in the Albany UU community? The nominating committee is issuing a call for nominations for positions to be elected at the annual meeting in May 2022. Visit albanyuu.org.